I gotta poop so bad.
Welcome back to another edition of Zero Blog 30. Today we have 5 rounds in the magazine. Round number 1, Brazilian soldiers, those poor little babies, are in hot water as word gets around that they do not fuck at all. In fact, the whole squad is softer than an earthworm and fresh flooded mud. Round number 2, BCP members will be sad to learn that they won't be able to dine naked anymore because it makes others want to puke. Round number 3, with military recruitment becoming harder and harder, the Air Force is offering $50,000 bonuses for retention for some MOSs. Perhaps they should think outside the box, though, like this one company that I found in Cyprus. Round number 4, there was an attack in New York. Kate got the details on that, and she wants to get into some of the things that she identified in videos and tweets and news reports and things like that. Some stuff that she saw that was very helpful and could be helpful if you ever find yourself in that type of horrific situation. And finally, round number 5, I have a surprise round, folks. Everybody loves a good old-fashioned surprise round. So we're going to do that in round number 5, surprise round. Because yesterday, where did it come from? Oh, because Steve from Military Times or Stars and Stripes, one of those two. I forget which publication. One of those publications he worked for. He gave us a very nice compliment and said that even though we give news, it's mostly about entertainment, which I would say is very correct. Don't take anything we say to the bank as 100% factual. That we should have that as a disclaimer before every single show that we have.
It's military.com, by the way.
Military.com. Yeah, he's great. He does a great job. But people were talking about what they actually liked about ZBT because he said that we do a good job there. And one of the things that they said that we do a good job unless we're talking about science or math. So we're going to have a surprise round in round number 5 around that. I'm not going to make you say numbers, Kate. No 6-digit or 8-digit numbers are going to be coming your way. That's my promise to not only you, but it's my promise to the listener today as well. And all of that is going to be brought to you by our good friends at Whistlepig. If you haven't tried Whistlepig whiskey yet, you should. It's the Pickleback Barrel Aged Craft Cocktail in a can. It's 78 degrees in my pool right now, and the ABV in these Whistlepig cans are 8%, so it's going to be a perfect little combination. It's made from 100% estate-grown rye from the Whistlepig family farm, and that they have it in barrel-aged whiskey barrels, so you're going to get a tiny little whiskey note at the back end. The finish is what they call it in the biz. It's going to be delicious. I'm a huge whiskey guy, and nothing is better than some Whistlepig whiskey whenever you're winding down the night, kicking off the weekend, whatever you're doing. And we now have a promo code for you to use at Whistlepig. Use ZBT22 to get 10% off your order at cans.whistlepig.com. Again, use ZBT22 to receive 10% off your order at cans.whistlepig.com, or you can just go to your local store. And I was right. Packy, we talked about it a couple weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, maybe last week. Packy is a term in the Navy. That's what they call it. They call it the Packy. And it also has some roots in the Boston area. People call it the Packy as well, which I did not know.
Yeah, that's like where you get booze in Boston, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, the Packy. Yeah, go down to the Packy. Kate said she had never
heard that term.
Heard of it.
Nope, never heard that term before.
It is a term indeed. Lots of stuff going on. One of the main stories that I saw, we don't have a round dedicated to Ukraine today, but shots fired at the one fella who was in Ukraine's government, and he was a Putin ally. Putin is his kid's godfather, which would be a precarious situation to be in. He showed up on my news feed, and the first picture was his hair all disheveled, and he's sitting there in handcuffs. I'd imagine being a modern Benedict Arnold from a Putin-Russian war with Ukraine is maybe the worst spot that you could imagine yourself in if you're Ukrainian. Just awful.
Yeah, this was one of Putin's right hand. He was like the top military guy. He got captured, right?
He's this guy that I'm talking about, actually a Ukrainian dude, and he was on. He's like in their assembly. He's part of their parliament, but he was a Putin loyalist, and so many people thought that he was the dude that if Putin's plan to go into Kiev and take it over in essentially 3 days and install a shadow government, this guy that they captured was going to be the Ukrainian that they put in charge, so he could be loyal to Putin. But
he's the one who kind of looks like an Eastern European George Bush, right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay, exactly. That's the one.
So they have this dude, and then his wife, that guy's wife, because the Kremlin and Putin were like, we don't give a fuck about him now that he's captured. He's worthless to us. We don't want him. Like, he's Ukrainian. He's got nothing to do with us. So his wife, the guy that got captured's wife, called Zelensky. And she's like, he's so sorry. Putin doesn't want anything to do with him. The Kremlin doesn't want him to do him. Let him give a chance to serve his country. And Zelensky's like, he's staying in shackles the rest of his life.
Yeah,
Like,
a bitch, please.
No.
Yeah, we're
No.
just gonna not let him go. Sorry about that. We're gonna hold on to him.
Do you
You know what's a
imagine the
real shame?
response?
Kremlin sounds like a delicious flaky croissant type dessert, and it's
Kremlin?
not.
It does. It
Like, I
sounds
would
like
love
something
a
that just
nice
has
hot
little
Kremlin
gooey.
fresh out of the oven. Do you kids want some? I'm
Right.
heating up some Kremlins.
Almost like a
Yeah.
dump cake, sort of like
yes,
where
kind of like a dump
it
cake.
comes out. Are you familiar with BJ's? Nah. BJ's beer and pizza spot.
Thank
The
you.
brew house,
Clarifying.
BJ's brew
Right.
house.
Yeah.
I know everybody here is familiar with BJ's. We've
Mhm.
given and get them.
Unless you're a fucking nerd.
Yeah, who hasn't sucked some dick or gotten their dick sucked? If you have, this is not the podcast for you. But they have a bazooki there where it's like a warm
the Paduki.
cookie.
You're talking about the Paduki.
I think
It's all
it's
about the
bazooki.
bazooki.
Bazooki,
Oh,
All about the
not
bazooki.
Pardon
Paduki.
me.
No, is that different than a Badusi?
there's a whole lot of them. The Badusi is at Buffalo Wild Wings. I think they serve that there.
My older daughter, if I say something smells like Badusi, instant hard laugh, like instantly, because we'll go into like by the seafood spot in the grocery store, be like, it smells like fucking Badusi in here. And the first time she had no idea what it was. I'm like, oh, it's booty, dick, and pussy combined. And she's like, oh, yikes, Dad,
Whoa.
that's disgusting. Like,
It's a lot. It's the turducken of genital sense.
that is very true, and they're all very foul. including the
Depends on
turducken.
what your pH balance is,
Get
really.
that? Turducken also foul because it's all birds.
Ah,
I
mm.
see what you did there.
Eat some
Mhm.
pineapple, I say.
So the first story that we have to talk about today comes to us from Brazil. And we
Or
don't do a
maybe
lot
it
of-
doesn't come.
It
at
doesn't
all.
come. Yeah. I was glad to see our guy, Sean. If you don't follow him on Twitter,
Oh my God.
Black Vet.
He is reckless, dude.
And coming with truth bumps too. He's the only
Yeah.
one that's out there that's really talking about how, well, besides Kate and I, we did it a couple weeks ago, whenever we were talking about it. People on antidepressants, if you
How
can't
hard it is
come,
to get off.
you're not the only one, friend.
The worst is being with somebody who's on them and you're just putting in the work and you're really sweating it up. And then they tell you 20 minutes in, this has been fun, but actually nothing's going to happen. Buddy, I just burned 3,000 calories. Fucking
Can't catch my
skiing
breath.
down the
Ugh.
mountain over here. Now you're telling me it was for naught? What?
Skiing. Goodness gracious, Kate.
Yeah.
Let's go on to round number one. What do we got here?
Pardon me.
Oh my.
The Brazilian military came in for stiff scrutiny Monday after a lawmaker revealed it had purchased Viagra pills for the troops, drawing a flurry of jokes on social media.
And this comes to us from our friends at spacewar.com.
Yes, always reliable, spacewar.com. Congressman Elias Vaz, I believe they just call him Deference. Yeah,
Mhm.
old man Deference.
Destroyed. Yep.
Destroyed. Yours, that happened to you.
Obliterated. Yeah.
Obliterated. You were too much of a fertile myrtle, is what they were
Exactly
saying.
right. Not
Anyways,
anymore.
They said that Congressman Elias
Like
Vaz.
when you first use the ketchup, you pull it out of the refrigerator and like the ketchup's real watery and then
Yep.
it becomes thick.
Oh, that's gross.
Yeah, it makes it sound. I'm sorry. Can we do a time? We keep the show going, but I have a question.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
There's a because
This isn't what we do all the time.
there's a queef, right?
Right.
Okay.
Can a penis do that?
Can a penis
No.
queef?
Do you ever get a little air bubble come out?
No.
I think anything's possible with enough try and willpower.
Anything with a hole can queef, right?
I'm 40 years into it. I don't think it's happened. It would be awesome.
Or are you just too embarrassed to admit it?
No,
No,
I
I
would
think that's
definitely-
something you would readily admit.
Oh yeah, you
'Cause
put
if-
that out there on TikTok, that goes crazy viral. You start
Hear me
getting
out.
paid.
Because queef happens during earmuffs to anybody. Queef happens during sex because air's getting pushed around. Well, you have to imagine air can get pushed in that hole too.
I don't know. It's a small
You guys
hole.
probably it's
a
probably
tiny-
such a
Yeah.
small hole that it's like it's so small you probably don't know it.
One of the
Maybe
things
it's
that I
happening
saw
and we
that
don't realize.
Right.
what about that same area, one thing that I saw on a video recently, and it made a lot of sense because men have predominantly been known to snore more and snore more loudly.
And
And
queef in the
someone
mouth.
said it's because your balls cover your butthole when you're sleeping and it creates an air vacuum.
That's the most absurd.
I mean, that's something you hear in like fourth
It
grade on
makes
the
sense.
playground because your friend thinks he knows what he's talking about, but he doesn't actually.
But think about it. Whenever you cover up the end of a vacuum, it's like, brrr, like it's the same kind of
True.
sound.
Yeah.
yeah,
I
that's
had a
probably
question the other
true.
night, and I know I'm coming to the right place because I know one of you will have the answer.
Oh, if it's about queefs, for sure.
Mhm. Oh, I
What
wanna know
makes
that.
somebody? What makes you a heavy sleeper versus a light sleeper? Like I could sleep through a hurricane. My mom, a fly flutters its wings and she wakes up. Like, what's the deal there?
I think
I
there's
don't know. I used to be a heavy sleeper where I could sleep through anything.
Yeah.
Hurricane, tornado, I'm not waking up. And now I'm such a little bitch. If I don't have like a sound machine and earplugs and haven't had some 3-chi, good luck. I'm not falling asleep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but like my dad's been a terrible sleeper his entire life. He probably has not gotten more than 4 hours straight in
That stinks.
60 something years. Yeah, it's crazy. But
Pot kettle, like that's you too. What
that's
are you talking
me. Yeah,
about?
I've-
That's been your life for like the last 4 years.
yeah. I hear phantom crying that wakes me up at night. I think the baby's crying and he's not. But yeah, no, I don't know. I can't wait till I'm a good sleeper again. I miss it. It's been.
I
a
actually
get
saw
back to
this.
that?
What do you guys think about this date? Cons, you'll be there. But I saw one of my friends. They took their kid's like 7 or 8 months. They took their kid to the grandparents' house, dropped him off for only a few hours. They were dropping him off at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. They wanted him to sleep in his own crib, so they were going to get him by like 10:30. They dropped him off at 4 o'clock. They went to a hotel and just sat in the bed in a hotel. She took a nap. He watched golf, and they had like beers and wine, and then went and picked the kid back up and went back home. They rented out a hotel for their date just to like lay there in the quiet and not have to deal with kids. And it
Why
was
couldn't
not
they do
in
that at
there
home?
Right.
because
That's
it's
what I'm
super
thinking.
clean. Going to a hotel,
Mm.
you
Oh,
don't have
okay.
like all your kid clutter around.
True.
You're not tempted to get up and wash bottles or put together a diaper bag or all that shit. They just went in there, no luggage, laid down. She was on one queen bed, he was on the other queen bed, and they just had a date for 4 hours where they didn't really talk. They just sat in silence in an icy hotel room.
That's actually
Genius.
pretty appealing. Yeah.
I'm too high strung. I'd be sitting there going, you know what? I should be. I wouldn't. I know for a fact I wouldn't enjoy it.
Have
I'd
you
be my
lost
own
the
worst enemy.
ability to relax, Kate?
Probably, yes. I like this
Kate's
weekend.
never been like a relaxer though. Like
No.
always a busybody. You too. You're a busybody too. I'm
yeah.
a
You
You
relaxer.
think so?
If I do
busybody.
nothing for a weekend and I just spend a weekend watching TV and like chilling, I have like depression by Sunday. I'm like, I'm a piece of shit. I wasted this whole thing. Oh my God. And so I got to be doing something. But normally I am being a piece of shit in a relaxing way, like going to the bars, partying. So no, I haven't done that in a
Yeah.
while.
I do have a lot of activities always on the docket, and a lot of things
But
to
they're
do.
leisure activities.
Yes. Yes. I think I'm pretty adept at parking myself on a couch though, and crushing some TV and movies, especially. And here's, Kate, where I don't feel guilty if the weather is crappy. If the weather's crappy, I'd have no problem with that.
That was
If
the
it's
worst thing
sunny
about
out, I
living
need
in
to be
San
outside.
Diego.
Oh,
You never
it's-
had a rainy
If it's
day.
not
Yeah.
in like pool season or outdoor going to the beach or lake season, like let's say late February, it's not going to be really cold enough to snow or anything like that. But a light drizzle rain all day on a Saturday where you don't feel the pressure to do anything. You don't feel the pressure to
Can't
go
do
out.
lawn stuff.
You have dogs like us, so you don't have to worry. Like even cleaning the floors is useless because they're going to get dirty anyways because the dogs are going to be coming back in. And just putting on some shows that you've wanted to watch for a while and being able to power through like 6 episodes in a row, to me, that's an ideal February weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
That's a treat.
What
So-
shows are you guys watching right now? Sorry, we'll get back to that story in a little bit, but I need to know, what are you watching?
I'm watching Love is Blind. I just finished the 2nd season of Love is Blind. I'm going to do the next season of that, like whatever they change the name to. I'm going to be doing that. Huge Great British Baking Show kick right now. I
Mhm.
fuck it. It's just that show. If you need non-conflict, because I think a lot of times, like doing this podcast and reading constantly about war and military stuff, throwing on the Great British Baking Show when you've had like having like a whistle pig along with it, they don't ever argue. Everybody's kind to each other and all the
Yeah.
contestants get along. It's such a breath of fresh air. It's remarkable.
Mhm.
Yeah, I can see that. I just finished Yellowstone. That's amazing. Makes me want to go to Montana. Gorgeous out there.
Mhm.
And then I did all the shows about the fraud people. I did The Dropout about Elizabeth Holmes. I'm doing We Crashed about Adam Newman and his
You gotta watch
wacky
Lula
wife.
Rich about the leggings.
Oh yeah.
And the
Oh.
Beanie Baby one. Those two.
Oh, the Beanie Baby. I watched that a while ago.
The
That was
Beanie
really
Baby guy
good.
was a huge fraud. Who knew?
The Gilded Age was really good too on HBO.
Okay.
So Congressman
All right.
Elias Vaz. That's deference, queefs. Okay, we got that all out of the way. He said he had been informed
How
through
did you get from queefs to television shows?
Hard to
I
say.
wanted to know if Vas deference getting his pee hole obliterated.
Right. Got it.
Whatever.
Anyway.
Through a Freedom of Information request, that President Bolsonaro's government had approved an order of 35,000 of the erectile dysfunction pills for the armed forces. So this congressman, I guess, on the opposing side looked into it and was like, no, they're spending all their money on boner pills. Our hospitals don't have enough medication, and Bolsonaro and his crew are using public money to buy the little blue pill, said the opposition lawmaker, calling the purchase immoral. The documents he received do not mention Viagra by name, but they say the order was for sildenafil, an active ingredient in the drug, said the center-left deputy. Now, not very patriotic to not want your troops to get boners, I would say.
I would totally agree. And the U.S. military people, if you want to ballyhoo this, the U.S. government in 2018 spent $84 million on Viagra and Viagra adjacent products.
There you go. The defense ministry said in a statement, the pills were in fact to treat patients with pulmonary arterial hypertension or high blood pressure. Okay, sure, Jan. That did not stem social media users' mirth. Cartoons featuring tanks with drooping cannons proliferated on Twitter, where Viagra was one of Brazil's top trending topics. This explains why the military support for Bolsonaro just rises and rises, quipped one user. Bolsonaro, a former army captain, has packed his administration with members of the armed forces and is openly nostalgic for Brazil's 1964 to 85 dictatorship, despite its record of rights violations. Some say these pills are to help the armed forces fuck democracy even harder, wrote a satirical news site. Left-wing Congressman Marcelo Freixo and Elias Vaz, meanwhile, said they would ask prosecutors to investigate whether something else was swollen about the purchase, the bill. They said there was evidence the government was overbilled by up to 143%, another sign of corruption.
Oh, welcome to government spending, dude. That's exactly the way it goes.
Yeah.
Now, what if, because we know Secretary Austin and the like are all listeners of ZBT, what if I fucking crush a Roman ad 1 week? Secretary Austin's listening, and they know that they've spent $84 million on Viagra, and they get Roman with the promo code ZBT for $5. Because if you get a Viagra prescription, it'll cost you like $34 under TRICARE. Like that's what it costs TRICARE to get that. If you do it for $5 and just give all the troops swipes to put in their pocket,
discreet,
buddy.
They don't, and they're tactical because they don't jingle around like pills would in your bag.
Exactly right.
That's what you want to do.
Some people say that it's like getting rid of the Velcro. Like Viagra is the Velcro of the erectile dysfunction. Just not good for sound discipline.
Okay.
So I wasn't sure if you were really going into an ad read there. Not so I was giving you space. Okay.
No. Thank you.
So you could use Roman. What about it might be cheaper to just use a bunch of gas station pills.
Okay.
So we've also, talking about the 7-Eleven checkout at 2 in the morning.
Oh, please tell me this is a real or fake game.
Yes, it is a real or fake game.
I love it.
Their packaging advertises, and this is true. The packaging on these pills advertises that your boner could last 7, 9, or even 14 days.
That's uncomfortable.
Not hours, days. I don't know what a boner feels like. Well, but okay. But I imagine that's not a good time after a while. Imagine you want to get back to normal.
No, because even in those moments, like whenever you're a young teenager and you wake up and it's hanging around and you're trying to pee, like just trying to pee with one is just a nightmare.
All right, here we go.
Yeah.
Rhino Zen Black Fire gas
That's
station
real.
boner pill.
That's real. Yeah, I've seen the Rhino brand. Yeah.
Correct. Rhino 69.
I'm gonna say that's true too.
Screaming Weasel Penis Diesel.
No.
It's not a bad name, but I just don't think anybody else's brain goes there.
Rhino Max 69.
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
Rhino Bighorn.
Yes.
Yeah. Lap Rocket 420.
No.
Nope.
Damn it. Crazy rhino, 25,000. Crazy is spelled Krazzy. Crazy rhino.
No.
Crazy rhino, 25,000.
I'm saying no.
No, that is a thing.
Oh, wow.
The Rocky Cock Exploder.
No.
Gold rhino, 25,000.
Yeah.
Yes.
You noticing a trend here?
Yes.
A lot of 2,500s.
Rhino.
Yeah.
A lot of rhino, because I guess it makes people think there's rhino
Horn.
tusk in it.
Well, you're horned up if you're a rhino.
Oh, well, there's a horn too. Yogurt cannon maxed.
No.
I wish.
Yeah.
But shout to Jonathan Moxon.
Our product will make you cum yogurt.
Yeah. Yoplait. Yeah, a platinum rhino, 25,000 is the last one. Yes, there are a ton of rhino ones. So who knows if they'll get in. I guess I'm assuming nobody's gonna get in trouble for the Viagra thing, even if it's true. But let the troops have bone doggies, you know.
Interestingly enough, I didn't realize that you could get Viagra through TRICARE. I would think that'd be one that they wouldn't support.
No,
Yeah,
it's
unless you had,
women's.
like,
It's women's health. They don't support cons. You can get anything as a man.
Oh, yeah, that's
Fine.
true.
Yeah, they've been doing that since Viagra came out, really.
Well, good for our troops then.
Yep.
I totally agree. But there's another thing, not just boner pills, because that's one of the things that came out, but they also have been spending a lot of money on penis enlargement, according to another report that they have. They are saying that the ministry had bought 60 inflatable silicone penile implants at a cost of $50,000 and $60,000 each. And that's in Brazil. For US money, that would be $10,000 for each one of the different military hospitals. And those penile, to make your dick bigger, it's costing them almost $1 million a year. Now that is something I don't think that the US government would do.
What?
No.
Oh yeah, you put it in there to get it. There's another one that they're doing too, and I saw it's the
Do those
surgery
really work?
Yeah, that's how they do like penis reconstruction and all that kind of shit.
Whoa.
I mean, anything that you feel like can be upgraded, it can. I saw a thing, this doesn't have anything to do with Nick at all, but there's this operation where you can increase the size of your femur.
That's not nice.
And they cut your femur and separate it just a little bit. Nick, what the fuck this note? They separate it just a little bit and the bone grows back. It's a 6 to 8 month process, but you can end up being like 4 to 5 inches taller.
Wow.
It just takes 8 or 9 months to get there.
Might need to consider this, bud.
How much are we talking? How much are we talking? How much?
No, it's
5 inches.
It was a $50,000 procedure, and they take your femur and they separate it at different angles. And the only thing that gets longer is your femur. I would think that you would look weird with a disproportionately large femur compared to your shins.
Yeah.
But if you're committed to wearing like 2005 era Tracy McGrady basketball shorts all the time, I feel like you'd be okay.
Yeah, you'd be okay.
I mean, just to be like 5'8" would be fine. I'm not asking for much. What if I give like 25K and I get half the
yeah, I mean, I think that would probably decrease the recovery time too. Because this dude that I saw do it, he was 5'8" and he ended up 6'1". Like
I don't believe it.
It's pictures. The guy's walking around. Like there was one doctor that was walking beside him, and then they showed him a year later, and he's taller than the doctor that was performing the procedure.
Hey.
I mean, I think I would do it.
5'8" to 6'1" is enormous in social capital too.
Yeah, I was just gonna say your life changes going from 5'8" to 6'1".
Yeah, but like,
You're
are you
all
like
beautiful
stable?
the way you are.
But are you stable though? Like,
that's the thing, Nick. This one guy, he was trying to run, and he looked like Bambi when he was trying to get up off the ice.
Right, because I'm still a physical specimen for my size,
Right.
so like I wouldn't want to compromise that.
And you're beautifully proportioned.
I know.
Yeah.
I've talked about this
Excellent
before.
job.
One of the most impressive, like I feel like we all have these people we served with that will always stick out in our mind for their greatness, like a really great leader or this or that. One of the best Marines I ever served with, and he was a Marine grunt that I was attached to, and he was a squad leader. He was like I'd probably say 5'5", 5'6". Like he was so tiny, and they worshipped the ground he walked on. They would follow him anywhere, do anything for that guy. He was an awesome leader. So
hopefully the path that they had to follow him didn't lead them through tall bushes, because that'd be difficult.
Well,
Right. No.
I mean, arguably the greatest soldier of all time, Audie Murphy, he was 5'5".
Yeah.
Yeah, and Ike wasn't exactly a giant either.
Right.
No, I think President
Napoleon,
Eisenhower
it
was like
didn't end
5'10".
well, but he.
Was he? I thought Ike was like 5'8".
No.
Hmm.
Hold on, I'm doing it right now.
Do,
President
do, do,
Eisenhower.
do,
height.
looking something up. Hey, we're looking
5'10".
something up.
Hmm.
5'10".
Very average.
Yeah.
All right. Round number 2.
I would love.
Yeah, let's do
5'10".
round number 2. What do we got, Kate?
All right, let's move on from physical stuff. We're not talking about that anymore. Round number 2, obese diners will be asked to leave a naked restaurant because it could be miserable for other visitors. The
that's
Amrita
true.
restaurant, which is set to open in Tokyo, has said that anyone 33 pounds above the average weight for their height will not be allowed to dine.
It's just so fucked up. It
Yeah.
just, I mean, but they lay out the rules. They're honest about it.
The restaurant, which opens this July, will ask guests to check in their clothes and put on paper underwear when they arrive. So thank goodness, no direct genitals on seating.
Mhm.
Anyone who is thought to be above the average weight for their height will be weighed and ejected if deemed to be overweight.
I would
love
watch
that.
a live
Ejected.
stream of this on a Friday night. No question.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I hate to say it, but I for sure would.
If
Those
they
who-
did a OnlyFans of this restaurant, the entranceway, they would make a killing because it would be hilarious and you'd see some road vagina and dicks.
Yeah, as they get in the bed. Those who are asked to leave
As
will
they
not
get in
be
the bag.
refunded.
Exactly right, Kate.
So I guess this is like, those fancy dinners. I've gone to a few, sick brag, where you pay ahead of time because it's just going to be like $200 straight up, blah, blah, blah. Those who are asked to leave will not be refunded. So if
Wow.
you're cutting it close, people are probably like going to weigh and measure themselves before they go, to be sure.
You
Miki
got to.
Komatsu, spokesman for Amrita, told AFP if fat people are allowed in, it could be miserable for some guests.
That's accurate.
No, because I think people would be miserable if I were there. I had a fat ass beforehand. Okay, I don't want to brag. It was a perfect bubble. Everything, my boobs, my butt, everything has just dropped, but the bulk was still there. So now it's just kind of this flat and floppy, and then I got stretch marks and whatever. I feel like, yeah, I would be within the weight, but nobody wants to see that. Not that I've got self-esteem issues.
I feel like maybe Miki Komatsu would ask you to leave. I mean, I feel like
stamp.
If I walk into a place looking like I currently do, and I'm going to the check-in counter, I'm taking off my meat sweatshirts, taking off my new shorts that I got from Dillard's, and I'm putting out on my paper panties. I got my paper panties on, and the guy says, look, those legs just don't meet the aesthetics. People don't want to see those legs. Get out. I would be like, I understand.
Fair enough.
This is fair.
I feel like of all of us, Cons and Nick probably have
I think
the
Nick
best
gets in
odds.
easily.
Yep, except for I think Cons, they would wait. No offense, I'm not.
Yeah,
saying
no,
you
I'd be very close.
You'd be
Imagine
called
Cons
out
my
to the
farting in that fucking restaurant like a
Oh,
savage
imagine.
with
in the
only his
paper
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 panties.
underwear.
Forget
That
it.
paper underwear would be lit on fire.
Forget it.
Oh, I
Forget
wonder
it.
what color paper is too. Because if they put you on like that thin paper that they pull out at the doctor's office, it's all
Yeah.
crinkly. That'll show a skid mark in a second.
And then it turns out
Absolutely.
it's sloppy joes for dinner. Like,
Yeah, what do they
"No."
serve? That's what I want to know. We having chili dogs while we're naked? What are we eating?
Yeah.
Fettuccine? Like,
Yeah.
what are
That's
we
a good
getting into?
question because there's certain
Mhm.
foods you do not need to be eating naked.
What do you want to eat
unfortunately.
naked? I feel like
Cuttlefish.
sushi's up there
Sushi's good.
Do you know
because
what
you're going to eat it with your
cuttlefish?
chopstick. What?
You know what cuttlefish does?
Cuttlefish. No.
It's
What's a
cuttlefish.
cuttlefish?
It's a delicious fish, apparently, but it makes you like within 24 hours of eating it, all of a sudden it's uncontrollable. You don't have to push or anything. Just this slime starts coming out of your butthole is the trade-off for the delicious fish. Yes.
Cool,
look up
thanks. I'll
cuttlefish some other
pass.
time.
Yeah, I don't
Anyway.
think they serve that at the
No,
naked restaurant.
so right.
No.
I'm just saying I would check. I should reach out to them and say, make sure you're not serving cuttlefish. Guests
You
can,
should.
Guests can see the guidelines clearly on our homepage. We are aiming for a sort of Roman aesthetic, like the beautiful paintings you see in museums. People with tattoos are also banned from the restaurant, and diners are asked not to cause a nuisance by touching or talking to other guests. I
Good
feel
rule.
I
like
mean, it's a good rule of thumb. Don't touch strangers, especially when they're nude.
You're really bringing back your clientele in 2020 if you're saying no tattoos. Like
you know
none?
what they're
I mean,
aiming for
of
this.
people our age, what do you think percentage of people have tattoos?
Not over in Japan though.
Yeah, I would say in Japan
Different
it's much
vibe.
lower.
Yeah.
Our age in America with tattoos, even just one tattoo, I'd say 40% maybe.
Oh, I think way higher than that. I would say
You
like
think?
60, 70. Yeah.
Huh.
I don't think so. About According to this 2020 poll, about 30% of Americans have some form of body modification.
And what year was that?
2020.
Oh, I wonder if body modification is anything, including tattoos, maybe like
I wonder if the Brazilian
gauges
guys could go with their new dicks.
Yeah. How about it?
I mean, that's when you want to go. You try a new dick on and you go to this naked restaurant, you're feeling like the king of the castle.
King of the castle.
King of the castle. King of the castle.
Also, like, they're aiming for this Roman aesthetic, like the museums, blah, blah. I like that the people here who are like all those hardo guys, like we talked about warrior camps last week, they're like, all right, Sparta, Valhalla, blah, blah, blah. They probably wouldn't be allowed in this restaurant at all. Anyway, yeah, people with tattoos are also banned, and diners are asked not to cause a nuisance by touching or talking to other guests. No talking to other guests. I feel like, again, I would not be allowed in this restaurant. Did you know here in New York City? And this is one of it's like the thought of going up to do stand-up comedy is too daunting for like 99.99% of people. There's a comedy show in New York City. I think it's defunct now. I wanted to go so bad. The stand-up comedians get on stage completely nude. And they don't talk about being...
You're basically performing what so many people have nightmares about.
What their very worst nightmare is. And it was a really popular show. They even took it on the road. They were all over the place. But it was a really popular show. And the audience was encouraged to get naked too. But mostly it was comedians just getting up there under the spotlights, butt ass naked, just telling their usual set, but completely naked. And I know a couple guys who did it. And and one guy was not very fit.
I was going to say, though, I
feel like it's easier if you're not fit.
Right. You can just be like, I'm a goofball.
Look at these tits.
Yeah.
But like, I wonder if you're like a crummier comedian, if you have to resort to going to the naked comedy club.
I feel like you got to be good if you're doing that. Yeah. Otherwise, you're bombing and you're naked.
I mean, but true. If you're like a physical comedian, like where like your look and things like that go into it, like Stavros. Do you know who Stavros is? I think he was on Come Town a lot.
Oh, yeah. I know you're talking about.
He would be.
Oh, he's a delight. Yes, I saw him.
He'd be phenomenal in that, like hilarious. I think that there's certain body types that if you're doing that and you lean into it, Chris Farley would have fucking crushed in that place.
See, and you know what? That's why I think this restaurant is going to be missing out on a lot of fun. You're missing out on all the good stuff. But I will say,
I think they could have one fat per table.
Do you know why ultimately I think they have this restriction?
Why?
The larger the paper underwear is, the more difficult it is to probably keep it on. I feel like they just don't make paper underwear that big.
I got to tell you, I wouldn't be too keen on wearing paper underwear. I'd imagine that would cause some sort of rash.
This place can't be cheap. Why would they not just like, okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to get bulk Costco underwear and everybody's just going to wear Costco underwear, because there's not going to be that many sizes. If obese people aren't going to be there, you could basically get your small, medium, and large, and that would fit everybody.
Probably.
I do like restaurants with a tacky catch, though. I have to say, that have like a gimmick. There was one restaurant somewhere here in the States where you go in the room and it's completely pitch black. You cannot see a thing, and you're served a 4-course meal or whatever by waiters and waitresses wearing night vision goggles. And the idea is supposed to be that because you can't see anything, your senses are heightened, so you enjoy the food more. That sounds so dumb, but like, I love tacky shit like that. Like, put me in a pitch black restaurant, strip me down, put me in some paper underpants, give me a burger.
I would only go to that place if they had an A+ sanitation rating.
Yeah.
Oh, if it was dirt, you couldn't tell.
You can't even see like roaches or anything like that that's going to be in your food. You'd have to have like the best rating for cleanliness.
Yeah. That's fair.
You guys ever gone to Dick's Last Resort where they make fun of you the whole time?
Yeah, they have one here on the Riverwalk in San Antonio.
Oh, do they?
Mm-hmm.
No, I haven't.
That'd be fun for us to do.
Yeah, we were gonna go, but the Rainforest Cafe was calling when Large was here. So.
Oh yeah, true. But then I was just also, if I really just want to get made fun of, I just have to record a podcast with you two. And I'm
good point. All right, let's move on to round number 3. What do we got? Round number 3, Kate.
Round number 3. Just 4 months ago, the head of Air Force recruiting raised the alarm in a letter about how the spread of COVID-19 caused serious headwinds, likening the declining number of airmen joining the service to decreased revenue in a business. So I was like, how could it affect the wind? Because I'm a fucking moron. That's not what it meant. Not 2 years into a pandemic, and we have warning lights flashing, Major General Ed Thomas of Air Force recruiting wrote in a memo that leaked in January. If we were a company, we would still be in the black. We would still be making profit, but our profit margins and our available capital those numbers are trending down right now. To fill this void, the service is offering $8,000 for qualified recruits who can sign and ship off to training for certain careers in 5 days or less. This is when people are like, oh, who wants that? When I joined, I was like, sign me up, get me the fuck out of here right now. Like some people are at that point in their life where they're like, yep, I'm ready. Let's just fucking get out of here. In total, there are 16 career fields that are offering bonuses for enlistees. 4-year contracts for career fields such as assembling and packaging ammo. Bomber, I feel like I would love that. I picture like an I Love Lucy conveyor belt, and I'm just goofing. Putting
I can
stuff
see you
together.
loving that job too.
Me and PFC Ethel just putting stuff together. We're
And you'd be
stomping
a
on
delight
bullets.
to have in that unit because you'd always be making little jokes, like you'd be making it into a game, like
it would
little
be
races.
2 rounds. I'd be a walrus. Be all sorts of stuff. Bomber aircraft maintenance and radio transmissions repair have bonuses ranging from 3,000 to nearly 10,000. But the most hefty of bonuses will require a 6-year contract and are for jobs with a lot of training or that are the most dangerous in the Air Force.
And these 3,000 bonuses, it might be different now, but when I was in 3,000, like if you get a $3,000 bonus, it's divided out over the course of 12 months. So you're re-enlisting for 4 more years to essentially get like $175 more a paycheck.
Not great. There is a There is a $40,000 bonus available for a career as a survival, evasion, resistance, and escape specialist, which involves training airmen how to survive behind enemy lines.
More commonly known as SEER School for those that didn't pick up the lengthened acronym.
And there are 2 $50,000 bonuses for special warfare operators and bomb technicians, 2 of the most dangerous jobs in the service. Employees at a company based in Cyprus have reportedly been offered.
This is not the military. This is my idea. So the next portion is not about the military because they're trying to get different things in to make you re-enlist. I don't think that having, even if you're working like assembly line, factory, getting ammo ready to go on pallets and things like that, $177 a paycheck isn't getting it done for you, or it should not. If you want to re-enlist in the Air Force, re-enlist because you want to, you're passionate about it, you love to serve. If $177 is keeping you in a career field, find a new career field, because $177 should not be the point where you are staying in a job. So I found this other article of what people were doing to keep retention high at a different type of company, and that's what this is.
Okay. So employees at a company based in Cyprus have reportedly been offered a very unusual addition to their worker benefit package. Instead of a gym membership, free coffee, or private healthcare, Cyprus-based adult website Strip Chat announced last month it would be offering its 200 employees pods to masturbate in while at work to help them cope with stress.
I love it. Now,
of course, cleaning those.
This is
cleaning those.
It's called a porta potty, you prudes. Like that, we had those in the military too, and now it's nicer porta potty. Essentially, this should be in every combat zone American troops. Somebody in Congress needs to have the balls or the intestinal fortitude to go and say, look, it's high time whenever we go to places that are 115 degrees that our troops need to stop pleasuring themselves where they get heat exhaustion. Let's set up masturbation tents, right? I mean, it's a no-brainer.
Right? Am I right?
When you guys were there, when you were in Afghanistan, it's hot as shit. When you were in Iraq, it's hot as shit. If you got to check out, if you go in and they're like, you get to pick out a 20-minute block, it's air conditioned. We got virtual glasses. Somebody's going to come in and clean up after you. It's going to be sterilized. We're going to put all that kind of shit. It would be incredible, man. Like people would fucking love it.
I'm going to say something and you are both going to retort that, well, you use a porta potty and you know what everyone is doing when they go in there. But there's something about this idea. I wouldn't want to go to a place where I knew other people were performing this act.
Yeah,
buddy, you go to your friend's house all the time and they're fucking in their own beds and you know it and it doesn't bother you at all.
I don't go to sleep in their bed.
But I see what Cons is saying. Like when I first started pumping at work, like I felt weird walking upstairs with a backpack on, knowing that everybody knew. Not that anybody cared or would think about it.
No,
and it's the
that's
most
another
natural thing in
good
the world.
point.
But knowing that everybody knows I'm about to strap some fucking suction cups in my tits in the middle of the office.
Yeah, but you guys are acting like people in the military are prudish about this. Like you would tell your friends, "I'm gonna go jerk off in the porta potty."
Would
like,
you?
Yeah,
I didn't
are you
do
kidding
that.
me?
No,
what kind
dude.
of units were y'all in? What? You didn't tell your, like in canine school, I had my friend Ryan Head, who's a cop outside of Atlanta. We used to put a fucking boot band around our door twice if somebody was jerking off, so you would know.
On my second deployment, my unit got to Afghanistan and we all were in temporary housing for a couple days in those cans,
Yes.
And we all had a formation. We had like 30 minutes to get our shit in our cans and then all meet up outside. And when we did, these two staff NCO women that were bunked together for the time being came out and they're like, oh my God. Oh, we found this dildo in our room. And they like threw it in the middle of they're like, oh, they like threw it on the ground and we're like, this is unacceptable. And I wanted to be like, shut the fuck up. We got guys whacking it in the porta johns we're using. You're gonna cry about some lady finally
should be issued, Kate. They should have issued spots across different spaces where you go and you sign in. You have your 15-20 minutes allotted, which is a little bit long, let's say. But what if people are on antidepressants? You want to give them enough time to get the job done.
Yes.
I feel like these little pods would be a hit. And in fact, I'm gonna see if we can use some of the money from the Barstool Fund to do this. If we had ZBT sponsored jerk off tents around the globe, I honest to God think that could be the most impactful thing this show ever did.
All right. If they are ZBT themed, I do think that would be good to be known as the morale boosters.
Put the little pirate dog on the wall and aim for the mouth.
You had to just take it one step too far. You had
the
to
company.
do that.
The company.
What the heck is wrong with you?
The company's equipping these pods with an Oculus Quest VR headset,
tongue's already out,
4K LED screen, and accessories like lotion, lube, and tissues. Employees will be given a 30-minute break during work hours to use the pods with the goal of providing current and prospective employees a safe, comfortable space to rub one out, the company said. Strip Chat is also leasing out its pods for up to $50,000 for 6 months with the addition of a VIP subscription to the platform. This is apparently not the first companies to allow employees to masturbate, with Barcelona-based Erica Lust Films providing a private masturbation station to help employees deal with the stress of the pandemic. So knowing there's only one thing that will make everyone feel good, I've set up a private masturbation station for them to enjoy, said Erica Lust. Boy, it must be great to work for Erica Lust.
What do you think?
I gotta tell you.
What do you think the response is? A brigadier general releases an all-con message and says this same exact thing.
That does not go over well.
No.
Troops
there'd be a lot of pearl
must
clutching.
be given better places to jack off. I mean,
okay.
I feel like it would be a good screening process to see who the creeps in the unit are. The ones who are a little too excited and head there immediately.
No, I would be chomping at the bit to get them one of these things. If it was, you go from a porta potty where it's 120 degrees to a lovely pod.
Nobody really jerked off in those.
And
right?
And porta potties? Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
I knew guys who
going on here?
I heard stories guys would get caught in the MRAPs and stuff like that. But
everywhere. It's kind of like Lion King, where everything the light touches is yours. Like you can do it anywhere you want to, except for the shadowy places, which is the battalion commander's office.
Somebody somewhere besides the battalion commander has JO'd in the battalion commander's office at some point. Maybe they're cleaning up.
If you're a sergeant major and
hours.
hasn't done that, they should take your star.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Simple as that. All right, let's move on to round number 4, a little more serious of a topic.
Yeah, much more serious. And I know this is kind of not old news at this point, but it happened earlier in the week. But there's a couple parts about it that I just wanted to talk about really quick. But I was scrolling Twitter Monday morning and I saw reports of a shooting on the New York City subway, and I sent it to you guys right away. I was like, "Holy shit, look at this!" And this was the tweet. It was from this guy, David Mack. He said, 36th Street and 4th Avenue, call for smoke on the DNR lines train station. Those are train lines here. Upon arrival, units discover multiple people shot, several undetonated devices at the same location, continues to be an active scene. So I start following it obsessively. I'm like, oh my God, I'm typing in keywords on Twitter. You know, I know how to stalk out info when I want to. And I'm like,
you do, yeah.
In real time, I'm seeing like actual photos and videos, blah, blah, blah.
You make a couple wrong decisions. I think right after you get out of the military, you could have been a 4chan person tracking people down.
Oh, 120 million %. 100.
Yeah.
I should have done reverse Marines United on the Marines United guys, because I could have done it if I put my heart to it.
I fully believe that.
Anyway,
Kate, I'd go so far as to say I think you'd be an asset to the CIA.
Dude, Listen, I can stalk shit
Remember
out if I
going back
want
to our interview that we did with Emily Brandwine, Cons?
Yes.
She talked about that a lot, how she got into the CIA and you'd be like, oh, you're not a typical CIA person. And it was because she was like a theater grad, was real silly and had like a goofy personality. And they said, well, nobody would ever suspect that somebody that goes around singing show tunes all the time would be a CIA spy.
Yeah. Think about that. Think about anytime you've been walking, we'll just say the streets in New York City, you had to have come across a CIA agent at some point, right?
For sure. And I don't think CIA agents are as scary as we think. Like, because of movies, everybody just assumes it's Jason Bourne, when in reality, a majority of their intelligence gatherers are just a bunch of fucking nerds.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Very unassuming looking.
Absolute delight. But anyway, they look like Nick. So I started following the whole story, and there's a couple of really interesting points about it, as terrible as all this is. But I just want to go over the timeline real quick. So, all right, and pardon me, it was Tuesday that this happened. Actually, my whole week's off. It was Tuesday morning that this happened. It was Monday that 62-year-old Frank James rented a U-Haul van in Philadelphia and drove it to New York City. Now, Tuesday morning, April 12th, he parked they see, and reviewing all the info now, they see his van driving over the Verrazano Bridge from Staten Island into Brooklyn. That morning, he parked a van, and a camera in Brooklyn recorded an individual wearing a yellow hard hat, an orange working jacket with reflective tape, carrying a backpack in his right hand and dragging a rolling bag in his left hand, leaving the U-Haul vehicle on foot. I swear I've said this on the show before. I've said it to you guys. I've always noticed the workers down, because I was physical security, was my secondary MOS, and they would make us play role-playing games where you were the bad guy. You were attacking different US cities. You were the Taliban over in Afghanistan, and it would be video games where you had to plant the bombs and you had to do whatever. And so I've kind of always thought, like, well, boy, if I was a bad guy, this is where I would do it and how I would do it. And I swear I've said to you guys, in New York City underground, there's always all these workers. All you would have to do is dress up like one of them. And they do these air tests with things that look like pressure cookers. Cons, you know what I'm talking about? Those big metal things. Like, all you have to do is drag a giant pressure cooker down there that looks like one of those air test things, wearing a vest and whatever, and nobody would know. That's like, I sound like such a douche right now. That's exactly what happened. I called it. Mark Wahlberg did. I would have found this out but anyway, looking at this photo of him, this is great for a podcast. Do you guys see I included it on the sheet here?
Yeah.
Yes.
You would never think twice, right?
Nope.
He looks like an MTA worker.
That's a good reason why you should be following along on the YouTube as well, because you can see it, because Nick could put it in a picture.
Yes, but he looks like a lot of the guys. It almost looks like he's got like a little walkie-talkie thing on or whatever. I would never look twice at this man in the morning during rush hour, getting on the thing, I think, and pulling the rolly bag. That's not your average looking rolly bag, but to me, that looks like the shit they leave down in the subways and work on.
I mean, fucking New York, anyone can walk down there and you wouldn't suspect it. I mean, if somebody came down there with a normal backpack, you're not. I'm in the subway all the time with a backpack or with a full out fucking luggage that are going in there. Golf clubs, a fucking bike. You got a rabbit. Like, if people bring crazy stuff on New York subways.
I swear to God, if I was on a subway and I saw somebody get on with a bazooka, I'd be like, oh, they're going to Comic-Con or some shit.
Right.
Like, I wouldn't even think twice. Like,
right. That's what I mean. Like, you don't have to dress up. You could bring it on there and say bomb, and most likely people are going to be like, that's probably not a bomb.
Yeah, probably not a bomb. You're fucking up my morning.
Because I think that's normal to assume that, because I feel like when things are going correctly in your brain and your balance and things like that, you're not in the position to be thinking everybody's going to harm me. And I don't think it's the normal person's response is to say that person is probably going to blow this place up. Like, I don't think that that's a normal reaction. And
two, here in New York City, like, it gets a bad rap for whatever. And yes, there is more crime here than elsewhere because there's more people. But when you look at it, overwhelmingly, most of the time, nothing does happen. Considering the scale and the amount of people, it's actually pretty safe.
You're more likely to get murdered per capita in Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Tennessee, South Carolina than you are in Manhattan.
It's actually pretty safe here. So you're going to see a couple cocks on your way to work randomly.
You might see somebody shitting by a Dunkin' Donuts.
Which I have seen. But anyway, so he comes under there and he's wearing this, looks like MTA, at around 8:25 a.m. This is where I would start to get concerned. He puts on a gas mask and the bright nylon safety vest, and he gets on a Manhattan bound N train. So it's a train going from Brooklyn eventually to Manhattan, but doesn't make it there. He activated a canister of smoke and opened fire on this train, just before it pulled into the 36th Street station at Sunset Park. 8:25 a.m. Now that people are coming back to work again, those trains are nut to butt packed. Like standing room only, nut to butt packed. So he puts off a smoke bomb that starts confusion right away and starts firing into people on the train. At 8:40 in the morning, another camera captured him exiting from another train station at 25th Street. And so it is, a lot of these train stations have multiple trains going different directions. There's like 7 or 8 different exits you could take that take you into totally different city blocks. So people are like shitting on the NYPD. How did this guy get away? Blah, blah, blah. It's very confusing and can be really chaotic if you're not super well versed in whatever. Bystander video showed the train doors billowing smoke after they opened. Passengers flooded out, fleeing in mayhem. I saw people running without their shoes. It was a bloody scene. At least 29 people injured, including 10 with gunshot wounds, 5 critically. Thank God nobody has died. It's just incredible that nobody died. Police found 2 bags at the scene, one with a Glock 17, a gas can, a torch, the key to a U-Haul vehicle, and bank cards. The other had commercial fireworks. Police said the pistol was abandoned on Kings Highway. They also found a receipt for a storage unit in Philly, where they found a 9mm and a .223 caliber ammo, targets, and threaded pistol barrel, according to the complaint. It's just like, I don't know. It's just so crazy to me. Like, normally shit like that doesn't happen here. And it was a terrifying thing. I didn't go into work that day. Like, what are the odds that anything would come up to Penn Station? But it's like, he's still on the loose. So it wasn't till Wednesday that police from NYPD's 9th precinct arrested James they arrested him Tuesday afternoon in the East Village of Manhattan. Oh no, it wasn't till Wednesday. Sorry, I'm fucking this up. They arrested him in the East Village after Zach Dahan, age 21, he was performing maintenance on his store's security camera. He saw James walking down the street with a bag over his shoulder. That's a $50,000 reward, my friends. So I hope that he gets it. Guy's an immigrant, 21 years old, and videos of him afterwards, he was breathing heavy. I don't know if you chased him down or what, but like he went full whatever.
And he's an immigrant from Syria, so he's seen some shit in his day too. He's seen
some shit. Yeah, law enforcement sources separately told Fox News Digital that James had reported himself to Crime Stoppers hotline before his arrest. They caught up with him outside a nearby liquor store. He was led away, just wearing dark pants, navy blue shirt, flat brim hat. And turns out a lot of signs were missed. This guy had a YouTube channel where he basically, every video is him saying, I'm going to fuck people up. I'm going to murder people. Profanity-laced rants that were hours long, with titles like Sensible Violence, Domesticated Averages, super racist. And he went on and on about how dangerous the subways were. He went on to criticize the mayor, women, social workers, homeless people. I wanted to kill everything in sight, he says in a 12-minute video. I was planning to kill everything I saw. On Wednesday, YouTube disabled his account. There's so many accounts out there like that.
Right.
How do you take them all serious? It's crazy, but the signs were for sure there. Looking through and reading other articles that like this guy was fucking nuts.
And it's one of those things, like what you're talking about now, I think is almost in line with gun control type of arguments where free speech. No one in the country wants complete unfettered, well, anyone sane doesn't want complete unfettered access to weaponry of any kind. Otherwise, Bezos and fucking Musk could go out and buy nuclear weapons and shit like that. Like there is gun control, weapon control that is needed, and everybody would agree. Same thing with freedom of speech. People say like we want unfettered freedom of speech. What the fuck you don't? That's the reason why you can't scream fire in a movie theater. It's the reason why you can't say, I'm going to hijack this plane while you're on a plane. No one wants unfettered freedom of speech. At least you shouldn't. Some restrictions, like having, it should be a red flag. I'm not saying you should go to jail for making YouTube videos like this, but definitely you should probably get a knock on the door to be like, are you okay, dude? Like what's like a welfare check type of situation. Yeah.
So what kind, like this guy, what kind of weapons is this? Or at least in the background, somebody looking into what kind of weapons this guy has access to, whatever.
And you know who was for that, by the way?
Who?
I don't give him a lot of credit on the show. Trump was on that train. There's a video of President Trump whenever there was a really bad shooting in Colorado, I believe, where he was talking about red line laws. And he said, it's one of the problems with due process. I wish that there was a way for us to identify who these people are who are crazy and go take their guns before due process even happens. And nobody really picked up on it. But I remember seeing the video and being like, holy shit, I can't believe you actually said that out loud.
Yeah, that's definitely an issue. One of the things that came out of this was there was multiple people on and they talked about how crazy it was initially. One of the things that shocked me most about the videos that I watched in the immediate aftermath and the smoke still billowing, people are sure, a couple people were kind of rushing hurriedly, and there was a couple yells here and there, but after the initial action, people were so wildly calm. People were circled around. Every wounded person had several people around them. Do they speak English? Can we get a Spanish speaker over here? Can we blah, blah, blah? Taking care of these people. When they started yelling, everyone get on this other train, everybody complied. Like everybody calmly, nobody was trampling, everyone complied and did it. The only people remaining on the platform were those taking care of the wounded on the ground. And one of these scenes, just a regular old New Yorker, looks like he's on his way into work, is on the ground doing, it looks like he's using his own sweatshirt to make a tourniquet on a man with a very badly bleeding leg. And a lot of first responders have been tweeting out, remember, whether you're a business professional, construction worker, rocket scientist, get an EDC bag, always carry a tourniquet. It can save your life. And these days it feels like with shootings, everyone, blah, blah, blah. One of the best things you could do is I'm thinking about, I sound like a nut, but I'm thinking about the different situations that I could be in. I'm like, I should probably start carrying a tourniquet on me. I carry mace. Maybe I should start carrying a tourniquet because you never fucking know.
I don't think you sound like a nut at all. I mean, not just, even if you're talking about traffic situation, if somebody got hit by a car and had a really bad wound that they needed, like, I feel like if there was ever a situation where you needed a tourniquet and you didn't have one, you would feel like an asshole.
Yeah.
There should never be a time that you have a tourniquet that you feel like an asshole because you might need one.
Well, I was thinking that, so well, go ahead.
I was just going to say the chances are that you're never really ever going to have to use it, but you know, God forbid you find yourself in this situation and you don't have one, you would feel stupid. So I don't think it's that crazy to think, Kate.
A lot of the reports, like it said, nobody died, but 10 people were shot. A lot of the reports are saying people were using just anything they had to create tourniquets on these people waiting for help, shoestrings and belts and whatever. So the EDC, an everyday carry
call
bag,
that a hasty tourniquet.
Yeah, like a hasty. It's basically, it's a little baggie you keep on you all the time. And there's specific ones you can look up, like EDC commuter bag so if you're a commuter in the city and you keep it with you all the time, pretty much. And couple simple things, and I'm like legit thinking like I should really have this with me all the time. Small knife, a flashlight, couple medical supplies like tourniquet, allergy medication, some other first aid components, a multi-tool, a lighter, a tiny notepad and pen.
And allergy medication, we're talking EpiPens, we're not talking Benadryl.
Yeah, right. But still,
yeah.
Spare batteries and an excellent extra cell phone charger. And then this one too, somebody said earplugs and a sleep mask. I don't know what that would come in handy for, but you never know. You never know. So I
don't mind that, having an earplug. I mean, that would be lovely. If you were on a subway and or on a train, like and you were stuck for a while, you as a mom doing your thing and you're going to be stuck there for an hour, just throw on the old eye mask and the earplugs and just take a nap.
Yeah. So I'm really, though, that made
probably don't have that luxury as a woman, though.
No, I'm not putting an eye mask on down in the subway, but
yeah, probably not a good idea.
Seeing all these photos of New Yorkers using homemade tourniquets and stuff like that, I really think like anybody could have that chance to help somebody and save somebody. And if you're not carrying a couple small essentials, you might miss out on that chance. So I think I sound like a dork. I'm like, I'm going to make an EDC bag to keep in my backpack that I always have on me. So I'm going to do that. The other thing somebody was talking about, more people take the New York City subway system every single day than fly commercially in the entire United States.
When you said that last night, when you told me last night, I was blown away.
That is an ridiculous number.
I mean, it's millions. It's millions and millions and millions. I think
that's one of those like Tony Gwynn stats where he could have gone like for his next 400 at bats and still finish with the best career batting average in his for his career time frame.
I'm fucking this number up, but like New York City itself has a population of it's like 7 or 8 million, but during the day, during the work hours, it balloons to like I'm making like 18 million or something crazy like that. And so that's how many people are coming in I think every single day, like 1 million people go through Grand Central or some crazy shit like that. It's check my numbers, whatever. I'm not a numbers lady, but it's insane. But it's crazy to think like, look at all the security we have at airports. And even when you get on like bigger trains, like Amtrak, or whatever, sometimes they at least check your ID or whatever. There's nothing to get on the New York City. And so some people are suggesting now, what if we put metal detectors? What if we started doing more security?
And I told Kate last night, stop it. Don't even start going down this road, because could you imagine the backup of getting into Grand Central Station or Penn Station if you had metal detectors and had TSA's type screening. You could not do it.
Yeah, and then you know what else? It would devolve into, if you were doing that screening, people would get so lackadaisical about it, so it would just become a waste.
It'd be like that one guy in that video where like people are going into the football stadium and he's just barely patting them down. But I think your idea of having and being prepared, almost like with a buddy aid little pouch in your backpack or whatever, is a fantastic idea. All right, let's go on to round number 5. I'm excited because we have a science test. Science is where we're going today. And Kate, just off the top of your brain, describe what a body farm is.
Oh, yes, a body farm. So say you don't have the money to pay for your funeral or cremation or any of that stuff. There are companies who promise to take care of that for you so long as you donate your body to them and they get to do stuff with it beforehand. You might not get your body back for the funeral or cremation for it's like up to 2 years.
Or ever, if you're like our friend Dolores that got blown up by a rocket.
Rocket, right.
But
they still eventually, cremated her or something and gave her remains back eventually. She wasn't the same as she once was, clearly.
Yes.
But
I don't know what, here in Body Farm, did you guys ever, you remember, I think we've talked about this before, but the old G.I. Joe videos that got dubbed over?
G.I. Joe.
The military theme one, John?
Yeah. But there's one where he's like, who wants a body massage?
Body massage
machine. Go.
Oh yeah. Body massage, body farm, potato.
Yeah.
But the one that I did a blog about this recently, because a box of heads went missing in Denver. And it turns out it was from a body farm. It got stolen off a truck. It was a box of human heads.
A nickel.
Right. And so a lot of these body farms then have facilities near major airports where they keep all the bodies. And so then say NYU medical team is going to do a weekend retreat where their brain doctors go to this body farm, and the body farm has all the bodies already laid out on the tables for them. All these doctors they land at the airport, they check into their hotel, they come over to the body farm, they do what they need to do, and then they're out. And so,
and some major universities have them too for like forensic science, and like they'll get into that. Like that's a huge reason why they're used. There's one here in San Marcos, Texas. It's about 10 miles north of San Antonio at Texas State University, and it's one of the largest ones.
But they make money, by the way.
They do.
So they make big money because the NYU doctors or whoever then are paying a bunch of money to come do this. So you're getting a free
because there's only like 3 or 4 big ones in the country. Too.
You're getting like a free funeral, free cremation or whatever, but they're literally selling your dead body to some other group.
What do you get for a body?
Which, by the way, I took forensic
science.
Depends
on which kind. Can they get into the restaurant or not?
True. That's a good question.
I feel like
that's
that
a good question.
Matters.
I took forensic science at IUP when I was a real piece of shit, and we helped dissect an actual dead body in that class. We went into yes, I have helped. We got to poke around in the chest cavity.
Was it weird? Because I've done cats. I did the training where you shoot a pig with a shotgun. I've done that kind of stuff, but never human cadavers.
Well, it was extra weird because this was just an elective class. It was this old Pittsburgh cop telling us stories about the crazy shit he's seen. A lot of masturbation deaths. Don't pull that belt too tight on your neck, my friends. My goodness.
Exactly the reason why we need pods.
Yeah, don't shock yourself too much. My God. But so we weren't even a real medical class, and yet we got to poke around this person's body. What? Leave that to doctors. I feel like in hindsight, it was very weird that we
opened up a cat in anatomy and physiology in high school, and there was kittens on the inside.
Oh no.
Okay.
Were they
Don't
alive?
end the show on a buzzkill like that.
It was sad, yeah. But we're not ending the show. We still got the quiz. All right, so you guys ready?
Yes,
Ready.
Body farms. Where is this going?
All right, it's just a
What's a
science
body
quiz.
massage?
It's just a regular science
What does
quiz.
that have to do with body farms?
Well,
then?
I went to this place, funquizzes.com, and you can just do random quiz. And the first one that came up this morning when I did it was body farms. And I thought, why not? We need to feel.
What?
Here we go. Where in America was the first, and you guys can go together, and we'll almost do it like the dozen trivia rules. Cons, you be the final answer person for you and Kate. Where in America was the first body farm located? Your choices are, and I'll give you bonus points if you can answer before I give you choices. Do you guys want to try?
Yes.
Yes.
And it only has to be state, doesn't have to be city. But for the actual answer, it's got to be city and state.
It's going to be somewhere in the boonies where people are desperate to make a coin, even if it's for their dead body. Somewhere people are like, fine, you can have my body. Just make sure that the farm gets a couple grand to buy some seed.
I need a specific place, Kate.
Knoxville, Tennessee.
Nah, that's too in the mix. I'm saying Boise, Idaho.
Too religious.
Are you cheating, Kate?
Yeah.
Why would you cheat? Why would you cheat? It's supposed to be fun. I was like, this is supposed to be fun, and you're ruining it by cheating.
I won't cheat anymore.
I didn't even put it on the sheet, you piece of shit.
I thought it would be fun if I surprised you.
It is an integrity violation. You're right. Nick just chatted us. It's an integrity violation. Kate, I hope that little joke was worth 2 extra shifts of Firewatch this weekend. So the first one is in
I'd like to be on my own now.
Yeah, I think
fine.
You're very. That's
I
fair.
do know a lot about body farms.
Okay,
the forensic anthropologist Dr. Bass developed the first body farm at the University of Tennessee in Knoxville, and he was frequently consulted by police forces for information about decomposed human remains. Pretty incredible. It's a 2.5 acre spot of wooded plot where they have a variety of settings in that plot that allow decomposition in different variety of terrains, which is incredibly fascinating.
That class I took, one of the biggest markers of how long a body's been somewhere are what bugs are on that body and at what stage those bugs are. So they rely very heavily on bugs. It's crazy.
And they use a lot of that on CSI Las Vegas too. In the early seasons.
Definitely.
They use a lot. But who's that guy on there? Bugsy fucking, do you remember who I'm talking about?
No.
Or I think it was actually NCIS where they would go into the lab. Ducky, I think his name was. You guys remember longtime stoolie Ducky from the show NCIS?
Well, excuse me. I went to the Marine Corps ball and I sat at Ducky's table. I have a photo with him.
Yeah, Ducky was a big entomologist.
Yeah, a delightful guy.
Which leads us to our next question: is entomology a key science at body farms?
Obviously, yes.
Yes, that's
also
a yes.
There's this show on Netflix right now that it's like a 3-part series following the murder of this nun in Baltimore, and everybody thinks, you know, this person did it, that person did it. And this one woman came forward, this other nun, and was like, no, the priest who did it, it was a priest who did it. And he showed me the body and there was bugs. It was the winter time. And she said there was maggots and bugs. No one believed her because they were like, one, there was a huge cover up of the Catholic Church and everybody.
And in wintertime, there wouldn't be maggots.
And in wintertime, there wouldn't be maggots. Well, the show goes back and looks at the weather that week because they have the back in 1960, whatever. It was freakishly warm temperatures that week that went all the way up almost into the 70s. And this entomologist came on and was like,
that's maggot season.
It's totally feasible, even in the middle of winter, as long as the temperature goes up to a certain point for a certain amount of time. And it was warm that whole entire week she was burned. The entomologists were like, absolutely, she could have absolutely seen that. And they went back to the records and they did find that, oh my God, there was maggots on the body. So
maggots, instantaneous heebie-jeebies if you see it.
Yeah.
Even the word maggot.
Maggots.
You call someone a maggot, I feel like that's a good
All
burn.
right, maggot. Yeah.
Yeah. True.
All right, here's number 3. Where are they now? Why are there now multiple body farms across North America? The answers are to raise research dollars for various funding agencies to study decomposition in various environments.
I'm saying the first one.
I think it's both.
First one?
Yeah.
All right, you guys missed that one. It's actually the second one there. North America takes a large for different weather patterns and things like that. They want to see how it goes. They just did one in Louisiana and wanted to see the swamps as well. Number 4, where was Canada's first body farm located? Near Quebec, near Saskatchewan,
Terre Haute,
near Ottawa, Ontario, or near Toronto, Ontario?
Seems like a Saskatchewan kind of vibe. Put the body on ice.
So which one for you, Kate? Saskatchewan? Cons?
Toronto.
The old sketch.
The correct answer is Saskatchewan. Just kidding. It's Quebec.
Oh,
yeah.
Who's the integrity violator now?
They wanted it to be really cold because the insect behavior is different than in other parts of the world. And the sub-zero winter temperatures can flash freeze a bunch of the dead bodies, stopping decomposition. And they wanted to see if you could pick it up a couple years later. All right, next one, the last one. How do most body farms get their bodies that they study? Donations from criminals put to death via the capital punishment, grave robbing, or from those who cannot afford for pay for funeral homes?
The last
Three.
one.
The last one. Yeah.
The answer is donations.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Most body farms receive their donations for people who pass away and have indicated that they wish to donate their bodies to science, which I'm getting closer and closer to doing.
Honestly, I do not care at all what happens to my body after I die.
Doesn't matter.
If they were like, just toss her in the dump, I like my ghost would be like, all right, fair enough, man. I
view
care.
my body kind of like an old backpack. Like, I love this backpack, but once I leave it behind, I don't give a fuck about what happens to the backpack.
Yeah.
Like my brain is just inside this shitty backpack.
Cons, you're going to have a beautiful plot.
Probably.
Oh, I think Con's going to have a lovely headstone.
Yes, it's going to be gorgeous.
Have like West Point on it, and it'll have all kinds of stuff.
Absolutely.
I like to read. My name is Connor. Like, I think that'll be the quote.
That'll be exactly what goes on there.
I like
That'd be perfect.
And Carabas's will be like, I like baseball. That'll be great.
Ooh.
All right,
I'll
let's
actually
move on.
let you guys can and figure out what goes on my headstone. I would like that by next episode, please.
Okay.
That would be great.
All
Yeah,
right.
I'm down for that. All right, let's do save rounds and alibis. Nick, what you got?
No real saves rounds. I think I think for your headstone though, Cons, if I may say, you should just have like one of your signatures and like, like just that, just that on your headstone. We don't even put your name there. Just
If Cons was a real podcaster, he would have a QR code on his headstone where people could just scan it and it goes to Spotify.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that'd be
or
good.
YouTube.
That's true. That's a great idea.
And then you get a free pair of loafers with every, you scan your phone, free pair of loafers shows up to your, to your house.
What
Vango,
if,
Vango.
Cons, what if I could turn you into a putting green and your mouth is the cup?
That'd be amazing.
It'd be incredible.
People enjoy me for all time. That'd be amazing.
Like
Bring
that
joy to
rapper,
others.
I think like 2 weeks ago that died and they propped his body up at the club.
In the
and
club,
he
in the
he was
club.
in the corner and people could party with him one more time. I think that have that at like the Barstool Classic be incredible.
Also,
That would be
Cons'
incredible.
grave has a little speaker on it that plays Bruce Springsteen 24 hours a day.
Yep.
You can
just on
party
loop.
a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Karaoke
great.
mic attached to it.
Listen, I don't know what caused me to die at this age, but hey, I'm here for it, I guess. We're making the most of it.
Sadly.
I'd like to think you're an old man. You go out to smoke a cigar by the lake one night. You've had a couple brews.
Wait, let's save that. Let's save that for Tuesday's show.
Okay.
Let's do some death predictions for the
Okay.
squad. The whole
All right.
squad.
I like
It'll-
that. Let's do that.
Because when
Each
one of us
will do it for each one of us. So
Yes.
me and Cons will both do Kate's, and Kate, you'll do Cons, and so will I. Everybody gets 2 people or 3 people. Everybody will participate. How do we die?
that'll be
Yes.
great, so that when one of us does in a freak accident go untimely early, everybody can point to this episode and be like, well, that was fucked up.
He called
That was
it.
fucked
He
up.
absolutely.
They did
called
say
it.
that was weird. I'm
He ate
knocking
too
on
many-
wood
What
right
was
now.
that fish that you talked about, Kate?
Cuttlefish.
Got hooked
Make
on
you
cuttlefish.
slime out
Next
of
thing
your
you know,
butt.
his entire
Google it.
asshole fell
Which is
out.
unfortunate because the name cuttlefish lends itself to being a good time.
Well, maybe it makes you cuddle your blankets because your
Slimy
asshole's falling out.
buttlefish. Google it. It's a mess.
Okay.
I don't want to.
Okay.
Cons, what do you got?
2 things. Chaps, how's your Jeopardy performance been of late?
Well, Annalise has been doing a lot of out of town working, and we have
Mhm.
a solid agreement. It was actually part of our vows that when one of us is gone, we do not watch Jeopardy. We DVR it and we watch it together whenever the other one gets back.
Okay.
So now we're like 7 or 8 behind. So we got to really power
Wow.
through them tonight. Yeah.
All right. I don't know. The science quiz made me think of that. So that's good to know. And then I was actually listening to 2 more things. I was listening to another great podcast from the Barstool Sports family, Podfathers.
Mhm.
And Chaps, I heard about your issue with Large. You guys went to a restaurant and ended up stinking. What is with you
Yes.
and just failing your coworkers when it comes to feeding them?
Well, that's not true. I took you to Safe Harbor in
Oh,
Jacksonville.
that's true.
And it
That's
was
true.
lovely.
Great hot
That was a
dogs.
win. That was a win.
Mhm. But this
All right.
place, one, I hadn't been out in like 2 years, really, like by myself to a place that I would say like you would go with like your dude friends. Like Annalise and I will always go to places that have like a nice glass of wine and we can stay for a while. So
Time out. Context Katie here. Large from Barstool came into town to go to a fight with Chaps. Chaps took him out to a restaurant, and Large is a big time foodie who's like a connoisseur who knows everything. So Chaps took him to this restaurant he thought would be great. It turns out it sucked. And it's always embarrassing when you recommend something that ends up sucking. Okay.
True.
No, that wasn't context. That was the entire story. Anything else, Cons?
Yes. As you're listening to this on Friday, although you are supposed to be watching it on Thursday night on YouTube, but if you are listening to this on Friday, you will also see on our Instagram that we have partnered up with TaylorMade, and I could not be more excited about our partnership with TaylorMade.
I might go tee it up tomorrow, honly, for work purposes, of course.
Unbelievable.
That's the thing that
so
stinks.
excited.
On Fridays, I'm going to have to start golfing for work. Ugh.
You're going to be golfing pretty swift with TaylorMade.
That's exactly right.
Mm.
We will be.
So,
all right,
that's
Kate,
all
what do you got?
Ooh, this is like when people ask you what you want for Christmas and you can't think of anything, and then when you get home, you're like, I knew I wanted Why I almost just said leaf blower. I don't want a leaf blower. A ribbon dancer would be a great answer. Nope, that's it for me.
Okay. I have two things, and one of them I think is going to be a shocking announcement. I have an adjustment in my power rankings for branches of service. Are you guys ready?
Oh, okay.
It's always been, I basically have always been Marine Corps, Army, Air Force, Navy has been my service preference. I'm changing it.
Okay.
Air Force, Marine Corps, Army, Navy. And that's just because what's going on in my family. The Air Force made I think it's an unprecedented move on all forms. They have announced that because there's so many anti-trans legislations that are going on for children who are LGBTQ across the country, the Air Force has announced that they will enroll any LGBT child and for their dependents of their active duty members into the exceptional family member program. They will help you move out of states like Texas and Florida and Idaho, Arkansas, Kentucky, passed one today, that the Air Force is taking a stand and saying that we are going to protect our families because our families are our biggest assets. And if our families
medical
don't
help, legal
everything.
help. Yep.
So they're doing all those things, and huge shout out to them. I have never seen a branch of service step out independently like that. Typically it's a DoD wide. When Don't Ask, Don't Tell was implemented, and then again when it was repealed, it was all on the DoD level. The same thing whenever you're talking about the ending of segregation, it was all on a DoD level. The Air Force took an unprecedented step of being the only branch of service that is doing that so far. Hopefully Secretary Austin will make that a DoD policy because it affects families whether you want to admit it or not. And those that are fighting to secure liberty should not have theirs taken away. It should be embraced even more. Sound the retreat.